reserves. But another conflict involving regime change and with global energy implications is raging in Europe. Nagorno Karabakh in Azerbaijan has seen fierce fighting and hundreds of dead. NATO partner Azerbaijan and Russian military partner Armenia have been armed by countries all around the world, including Russia, Turkey and Israel. Azerbaijan has claimed the war has been the sole result of Armenian aggression and that they have not fired a single bullet. It's not about winning war, says Azerbaijan's ambassador to the UK. It's about winning peace. Ambassador Tahir Taghizade joins me now from London. Ambassador, thanks so much for coming on. I've got to actually start with the fact that the media isn't being allowed into your country to cover the war. People might not know the history, the regional tensions. Why are you not allowing journalists from Britain or any other country into Azerbaijan? I think you're allowing Turkish ones.
First of all, thank you very much. I would like to start by two very, very brief remarks. You mentioned playing war. Unfortunately, as you absolutely correctly pointed out, in our part of the world, it's not playing war. It is a war that's been raging there for nearly 3 decades, caused by Armenian absolutely unprovoked aggression and occupation of 20% of my country. I honestly believe that when we discuss the issue of journalists being, as you put it, allowed or not allowed, we took a group of journalists to Ganja, a place that is, geographically speaking, removed from the zone of conflict. It's been shelled on numerous occasions by Armenian artillery using missiles. And we thought that the foreign journalists would be reasonably safe there. Unfortunately, it's not true. The van in which the journalists were traveling was hit hard and destroyed. Thanks God, all of them stayed alive. Nobody died. But this is the reality. We categorically object to the very idea of deliberately taking foreign journalists and exposing them to danger of losing their lives and or to being wounded.
I mean, I should say RT journalists have lost their lives covering wars in recent years. They're trained to cover dangerous situations. Are you saying it's more dangerous than the war in Libya, the war in Iraq, the war in Afghanistan? That's why you're banning journalists from coming to Azerbaijan?
What I'm trying to say is that if the Armenian government has chosen to ignore its obligation to ensure the safety of journalists and uses foreign journalists solely for the propaganda purposes, we do not see that need. There is no desire whatsoever on the Azerbaijani side to risk the lives of the foreign journalists. We try to make sure that wherever we take the foreign journalists, they are safe. I would, with all due respect, disagree with you because I know that my good friend and former colleague who used to work with me when I was ambassador to Prague, to the Czech Republic, has taken several groups of journalists towards the line of contact. But we try to do it with utmost precaution, making sure that the journalists are not exposed to excessive risk.
Well, viewers can watch the context of this conflict hourly on this channel. I've got to ask you, and obviously Armenia deny that they're in the wrong, what have you made in the past 48 hours or so of Canada saying they don't want to export arms to Turkey, NATO member, because they are suspicious of the use of Turkish arms by the Azerbaijan government in this conflict?
I can tell you outright that these suspicions by the Canadian government are suspicions by the Canadian government. And let's leave it at this. We very much value the support we receive from Turkey, but the support that we receive from Turkey is of a diplomatic, political, and moral nature. You kind of brought me back to something I said a couple of days ago with regard to winning peace, not war. And this is exactly what we intend to do. Unfortunately, if the international mediation through the OSCE Minsk Group co-chairs and other international bodies has been unsuccessful so far, what happened on the 27th, meaning another stage of Armenian aggression against Azerbaijan has taken place, then it is our God-given right to protect ourselves. The statement made by my president on Sunday, the very day that the hostilities started, 27th, was that we do not have a single military target on the territory of Armenia. And this is indeed true, because never in any case, even when peaceful Azerbaijani citizens peace infrastructure, civilian infrastructure outside of the zone of conflict, far removed from the line of contact, are being held under fire and under attack from Vardenis, Goris, and numerous other Armenian cities, we hold our fire. We do not respond.
Okay, well, Armenia, as you know, denies the Ganja attack. I just want to get on to something more fundamental, because there may be some who might have been sympathetic to Azerbaijan and Armenian control of Nagorno Karabakh de facto. But what's raised the suspicions internationally has surely been this accusation that Syrian rebels, those who were once supported by Britain against President Assad, are being imported by Turkey to aid your government. That is what is raising people's concerns in the global south. Is that true, what's happening, as President Macron of France is alleging?
I'm so sorry to say, but I will probably disappoint everybody. You need to check your sources when you use that kind of information.
It's the French president, in fairness. Everybody
should check their sources, including the French president. My word here would be, take a look. There was this piece of fake news with regard to the presumably Turkish F-16 shooting down Su-25 in Armenia. You are aware that Armavir radar station is located like 300 kilometers away from the zone of conflict. Do you seriously envisage that such an advanced piece of radar installation would have ignored what happened just 300 kilometers away in the airspace of the CSTO, Collective Security Treaty Organization, with regard to the rebels? You know, the modern warfare basically envisages that bringing a foreign element or a new element into the zone of conflict should bring a qualitatively new level of involvement. And if you speak about sheer manpower, Azerbaijan, which has the 50th strongest military in the world, as internationally rated, has no need for several hundreds guerrilla fighters. And I will explain you why. They do not know the terrain. They do not speak the language. They are accustomed to totally different conditions of warfare. I really do not think that this is realistic. I've also read some pieces with regard to some unnamed sources claiming that they might be used to, how shall we put that, to protect energy installations, oil infrastructure. But believe me, you could talk to any of the world companies besides the law enforcement, the state agencies that do participate in that on the Azerbaijani government side. Obviously, there is something else. The oil companies do hire their own security, private security agencies. So the security is there. And I can...
So, Ambassador, could it be Britain, as I understand it, is the biggest foreign investor in your country? And you're ambassador to Britain. I mean, you're saying that Britain could be hiring security contractors that could be Syrian rebels to protect their facilities?
No. I'm talking about the fact some people were claiming that those militants or those guerrillas could be brought into Azerbaijan also to protect the energy infrastructure. I'm saying this is not the case. Bringing foreign element does not envisage only so-called mercenaries. It also involves so-called volunteers. And that could bring to your attention, there's been publicly accessible videos on the social networks with regard to Greek Armenians, Lebanese Armenians, Russian Armenians, Georgian Armenians, pressing hard, pushing into the region to participate in the military activities.
Yeah, but Ambassador, there is a problem with these social media videos. What have you made of the social media videos that's purported to show Iranian, and of course you border with Iran, troops coming, some people said, to fight on the Armenian side? You've heard, presumably, the Iranian government saying, no, we, like Russia and the United States, urge a ceasefire and de-escalation.
We are talking about absolutely different things here. I can tell you that the media, with regard to Armenians pushing on the Georgian border guards, trying to cross the border and get into Armenia and further on into occupied territories of Azerbaijan, have been verified. These have been confirmed to be authentic.
Why do you think, from your point of view, Armenia has suddenly caused this conflict. As you know, these big NATO exercises are on in Scotland. I understand that there were other exercises that Armenia was supposed to be involved in. Azerbaijan was also supposed to be involved in some exercises, had to cancel this week. I mean, you must be aware of the media narrative, even in mainstream media in NATO countries, that if, as you suggest, Armenia is bent on destruction, a retaliation against Turkey would invoke Article 5, which would mean NATO would be brought in to what could be World War III.
We are not talking about World War III here. I could tell you that this, unfortunately, has been going on and on forever. We're talking about nearly 30 years, and Azerbaijan has been warning the international community that that's what Armenia is doing. Take a look back at the events of July when they attacked Tovuz along the internationally recognized border. That's not only a place where the energy infrastructure leads. This is also a place where they try to, I don't know about NATO, but definitely trying to drag in the Collective Security Treaty Organization by claiming obligations of other CSTO countries under the document. That's one thing. Another thing, we have demanded that sources or more or less people and or states who claim that there are certain developments in the region which do not correspond to truth provide us with proofs. What are the sources that some of the countries are quoting? This is one of the questions, and none of those proofs have been provided so far. If I may, can I tell you something? I mean, if you decide to cut it out, you cut it out. But I would like to bring you to something that was penned 23 years ago by then President of Armenia, first post-Soviet President of Armenia, Levon Ter-Petrosyan. It's a piece that was called War or Peace, Time to Get Serious. There, Ter-Petrosyan was going along the lines of, I could have demanded that United Nations recognize Armenian genocide. I could have pushed hard on Turkey and Azerbaijan. I could have made proclamations along the line of not a single inch of Karabakh land will we give up. I could appeal to Treaty of Sevres. I would have become a darling of Armenian society, he would have said. But eventually, I would have taken Armenia into abyss. Now, after the catastrophic explosion in Beirut, Lebanese Armenians are being resettled into these areas. And this is a direct violation of the Fourth Geneva Convention of 1949. So all of these things are just meant for a single, or are just designed for a single purpose. And this purpose is to provoke.
Well, Ambassador, we'll get an Armenian perspective on Saturday. Thank you so much for coming on Going Underground.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
After the break.